What's up, hockey fans, and welcome back to the Good Goal Podcast. This is episode 41. My name is Christian Brady from Foxborough, Massachusetts. Almost said Foxborough, South Carolina. That's Matt Tiart, still in Clemson, South Carolina, and he hasn't cleaned his room yet. What's up,
Still
Matt?
haven't decluttered. Yeah.
You're leaving today, right?
Tomorrow morning.
Tomorrow morning.
We have a gas crisis in the South. I don't know if y'all
Yeah.
have heard. So, do you have gas up there?
Yeah, I haven't noticed any issues.
So it's just the South that's losing their mind. Sweet.
Yes. Yeah.
Episode 41 just so happens to be the same amount of goals that Austin Matthews has. So that'll be our tie.
As of today, he plays tonight, so we'll see if he adds to the total.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's see if he can get 9 gols. So he can get 50.
Yeah, so he can get 50 and 50. Oh, not even, but.
All right. You want to start us off?
Yeah, we might as well. A memorial signing, I guess you'll say, a landmark signing. Luke Henman becomes the first player signed by the Seattle Kraken organization. That's cool for him. But Matt, I remember the first player signed by the Golden Knights. I don't remember his name, which tells you how important this signing is, which is not at all.
Yeah, he's gonna get a plaque in his room.
Right.
But
cool.
I doubt he ever sees NHL ice. So
I doubt it too. They must see something in him, so maybe he will. Obviously, there's only one other example like this.
I mean, he's from the QW, NBC, CBSHL.
Yeah, exactly. I think he played in Quebec.
Yeah, so it's like the QWJHL.
QMJHL.
Yeah. Whatever. Good for him. Good for Seattle. But
yeah, good for the organization.
Again, I don't see him being the first line center for this team.
It's a weird time because we talked about last episode, on that day they actually officially finished the process of becoming an NHL team. And it's a weird timing because at that point there's nothing to choose from. Like you're choosing from the guys who have passed their draft years in the CHL, but are most guys in junior hockey are drafted. So you're just picking from the guys who aren't drafted and who are past their years. So
yeah.
And also it's May, so it's like all those guys are still playing, and it's just a weird time to be looking for your first players. It's not really an optimum time to pick NHL players. So
I wonder if it's kind of weird. Do they like the kid enough that he could be like a face for charity or something? By being the first draft pick, do they assume that he's not going to be a star player, but he could be a good PR move? They're essentially giving him a job.
Yeah, I guess so. But it's also just they could pick anybody. It's just the first player they're signing. They were going to do it this week, I'm sure. So that is the story itself. It doesn't really matter who the kid is.
Well, I'm getting a Luke Henman
jersey. Yeah, right.
Me and his parents will probably be the only people that ever get a Luke Henman jersey.
Well, that was when the Patriots drafted Brady in the 6th round, and my dad was like, "I'm getting a jersey. I don't care. It's our last name." Everyone was like, "The kid's not even going to make the team." My dad knew, though. My dad was like, "What are you talking about? He's going to win 7 championships." That's exactly what he said. It was weird, actually.
That's crazy, Kevin. Shout out.
All right.
I want to touch on this, and then we'll get back to it at the end of the episode. Yep. The Avalanche can win the West Division if they win tonight and win the President's Trophy. This might be the first time ever that the President's Trophy is going to go to a team that wins their last game and also would be tied with someone else. The President's Trophy is going to be decided on a tiebreaker if the Avs win tonight.
Is that how it works, or do they split it?
No, I guess they would split the quote unquote President's Trophy because they're tied in points, but the tiebreaker goes to the Avs. And here's how I'll break it down for you. So the tiebreaker, if they win tonight, they would be tied with 82 points. And the tiebreakers go as followed. Fewer number of games, they would both have set 56, so that's null and void. The second tiebreaker is the greater number of games won in regulation. Colorado has 34 right now, and Vegas is 30. So there's the tiebreaker. The third tiebreaker is number of games in regulation and overtime, which would go to Vegas, but doesn't matter. It's already decided by the second tiebreaker.
Right.
So yeah, Colorado. So Vegas wins last night 6-0 over San Jose to say, like, look, we're winning the President's Trophy. It's ours. Colorado comes out, wins 6-0, same exact score against LA.
Yeah.
So they play LA again tonight. I would think Colorado would take care of LA to win the President's Trophy.
And Vegas is wrapped up already?
Vegas is wrapped up. So Vegas is hoping that LA can play spoiler. The way the Avs are playing. Yeah.
I'll have to watch it. It's an important game.
This is stuff of legend. The last game of the season comes down to who you play in the playoffs and the President's Trophy. I mean, do the Avs say we don't want the curse and just blow the game tonight?
Ooh, interesting. So if they lose, that's their
if they lose, they're the second seed, and
we meant to.
But do you want the division, in a year like this? I mean, it means a lot for a city.
Because you're likely playing Vegas in the second round. You're going to want to be at home.
Yep.
For that extra game. So.
Yeah. I mean, a lot is on the line. LA could play spoiler. This is a big game.
Yeah.
Colorado's won 4 in a row. So they're the hottest team. The second hottest team in hockey behind Florida. So.
Yeah. Florida's rolling right now. They just beat Tampa like 5-1 twice.
Yep. And that's who they're playing in the playoffs. So that's a mental. We'll get to that later, but that's the storyline. If the Avs win tonight, they're the President's Trophy winner, and also they win the Honda West Division.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into some coaching news, or I guess front office news. The Rangers have burned down the front office. They fired President John Davidson, GM Jeff Gordon, brought in GM Chris Drury, who fired David Quinn and his entire staff, except for one guy. So David Quinn joins Rick Tocchet in Arizona and John Tortorella in Columbus as the leading contenders for the Seattle Kraken job. It's got to be like that. I'd like to see Tortorella. I honestly think that's who is going to end up going there.
No, it's going to go to Gerard Gallant because he went to the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah. What is he doing right now?
He's probably somewhere in Canada, just eating at Tim Hortons every day.
Jesus, listen to this.
He's getting Tim Hortons every day. I don't know.
Tim Hortons sponsor us. That's a good one, Matt.
That is a good one. Also, Jen, shout out to my future sister-in-law, the mother of my nephew, for this sick Yeti. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So my first thought is for the Rangers firing David Quinn, the experiment's over. You can't do it doesn't seem like it works to take a successful college coach and bring him up to try to rebuild a team. And we're going to see that in the NFL with Urban Meyer. But he's catching some heat signing Tim Tebow as a tight end. But that's for the Beer Money Sports podcast. So it'll be interesting to see who the Rangers bring in because they have a gold mine of talent.
Yeah.
And we've both been saying for 2 years now that they're a year away from being really good.
It's not even now. They're ready to be a playoff team, and they just didn't put it together this year. And it is disappointing because they should have.
And they did in some game. They were up 9-1 on the Flyers in the second period. Like, that's the team that could win a cup. And then the next game they lose to the worst team in hockey, the Buffalo Sabres. So, like, it doesn't make any sense.
They did get a tough draw because less than a month into the season, you looked at the East Division and said, okay, these are the 4 teams that are going to make the playoffs. Save Philly, because Philly was up there in the front. And Pittsburgh was on the outside looking in. But it kind of seemed like of those 5 teams, 4 teams would make the playoffs, and the other 3 didn't really have a chance.
But it's kind of like golf where, like, you hit 3 good shots on the front 9 and you're like, why can't I put this together? It's like the Rangers, like, they had a stretch of really good games. And 2 weeks ago when Boston was treading water, 3 weeks ago before they got Taylor Hall, you could make the argument that the Rangers were going to jump them.
Oh yeah.
So it wasn't really that long ago that it seemed like the Rangers could squeak in.
Right.
So I don't know what went wrong because
Yeah.
they have a gold mine of talent.
Yeah,
Anyway.
so I expect them to play well next year, especially under a new coach, because teams tend to do well under new coaches.
To
So I guess
get to
we'll
Rick
have to wait and
Tocchet,
see.
I'll be in Arizona if you guys want to hire me. So
True, yeah, true. They're fully qualified too, so
yeah.
it's you, David Quinn, and John Tortorella interviewing for that job, and I mean, I don't see why they wouldn't pick you.
I mean, did I get fired?
No, you didn't. Never. Not
So
once.
there's all you need to know.
Not one. Okay. Connor McDavid has locked up the Art Ross Trophy for the leading scorer.
Shocker.
Matthews will win the Rocket Richard, which is the goal scorer of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I did out the math for an 82 game pace. Would have been 155 points for McDavid and 61 goals for Matthews. So
That's
not
unreal.
that it's a normal year for Matthews, but I'll talk about that one first because it's the less ridiculous of them. 61 typically wins. It's usually like 58 or something like that. I think 58 is what Pasta and Ovechkin won it.
49, I think, is what they had, but it was also a shortened season because of COVID.
Right. Yeah, they missed 12 games or whatever on the end. But 155 points would be the most in the last while.
Yeah, in a game where it's harder to score.
I don't understand how he does it.
Dude, we talk about him every episode, and again, our 6 listeners are probably like, shut up about McDavid. But if you put this guy in any era of hockey, he's the greatest player that's ever lived. So
he's just got to sustain it for 15 more years, which is the craziest part about Gretzky's career is that he did it for 24 years.
So, yeah, Gretzky has 15 100-point seasons. I think McDavid has 100 points in every season he's played so far because he won the Hart his second year. I mean, the kid might start breaking Gretzky records. Like, he's not going to break the goal or assist record, but you're talking about what he's doing at a level that no one else is doing it in a shortened season. 100 points in 56 games. I mean, that's absurd.
So if it did happen to work out and the pace held up and he got 155 points in 82 games, it would have been the most since 95-96 in Mario Lemieux.
Yeah.
And it would be in the top one. It'd be one of the top 10 seasons of all time.
That's 25 years ago. I mean, hockey was totally different back then. Yeah. The kid, I mean, generational doesn't even cover what this kid is.
And Gretzky had 200 points 3 seasons in a row. And the season before that streak, he had 196. And before that, he had 212. So he had 200 points in 4 out of 5 years. And the one that he missed, he had 196.
Yeah. I mean, Gretzky's obviously on another level, but McDavid is our Gretzky. Like,
yeah.
At some point, we have to give him 8 Harts in a row if he keeps doing this. Like, we gave it to Draisaitl. The Hart was given to Draisaitl last year because he had the most points. But we even said when it was given to Draisaitl, the argument can still be made for McDavid to win the Hart again.
We said everyone knows who – it was the Trevor Lawrence Heisman argument. It was like, sure, someone had a better season. But who was the best player in the NHL this year? It's not even close. It was Connor McDavid.
Yeah. Yeah. So the craziest part of all of this is that he won the Art Ross 3 weeks ago because the guy in second is Draisaitl, who's his teammate at 83, and Marchand's third with 69. He has 40 more points
than the third guy.
Than the third guy, the next guy who's not on his team.
And by the way, watching Marchand, there are times where I'm like, how can anybody be better than him? And then I'll wait to watch the late games, and I'm like, oh my God, it's not even close.
Yeah, they showed McDavid's like points in the last 10 games, and it was like 4 points, 4 points, 4 points, 3 points, 0 points, 4 points, 3 points. It's like, oh my Lord. And I get it. Look, they're playing all Canadian teams. It's like a different whatever. 104 points, 56 games. I couldn't do that against 10-year-olds.
No. Yeah,
So
it doesn't matter. If you're playing NHL teams, it's ridiculously impressive.
yes, yeah, and I cannot wait to see playoff McDavid because last year they lost to the
He kind of laid
Blackhawks.
an egg. Yeah.
We didn't really get to see what he's capable of. Plus, with people in the stands, it's going to be a little different. So,
Well, not up there. We'll
oh, that's
see
true.
if they make the conference finals. Then he'll be playing in front of fans.
Yeah,
Maybe, because we don't even know if they're going to be able to go outside Canada. But something tells me the Canadian government will make an exception for hockey.
yeah. If a Canadian team it has to be a Canadian team in the Final Four. So, which will be like the first time since the '90s. Well, since Vancouver.
Good for Canada. They get to be handed their first
Yeah,
conference finals trip since 2011.
which is sad. But anyway,
Okay. Jack Eichel, another league star, said that there's a disconnect between him and the organization. He has not officially requested a trade, but something tells me he's out of town before they start. Buffalo has no point in paying him. They're years away from playing well. After his contract will expire, there's no point in paying him. And neither side gets anything out of it. I think he's gone by puck drop next season.
Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gone.
That's kind of wishful thinking on our part because I know we both want him gone, but I really don't see any point in Buffalo keeping his contract. They're paying him $9 million a year to play 23 minutes a night on the worst team in hockey. They're not getting out of it either, except for wasting $8 million.
Yeah, they need to. I mean, they could get a franchise for him and rebuild. I mean, it's going to take him 3 years to get back to playing good hockey. So this is like the Aaron Rodgers of the NHL right now. He doesn't want to play. He doesn't want to be there. It'd be better for everyone if he left.
Yeah, that's a good example.
So, yeah, and if you're just a fan of hockey, you want to see him leave that dumpster fire that is Buffalo. It's weird to me that Buffalo isn't on the list of coaches being fired.
Yeah, he got fired early in the season, so we don't know if the
fire this guy.
Yeah, yeah.
They need to pull a Rangers and just fire everyone. I mean, they just need to move They need to move. Anyway, yeah, that's all I got on Eichel because I could go on a 20-minute rant about how he deserves the world and he's given a bag of crap.
Yeah, me too. All right, that does it for news. Let's get into the playoffs. We're actually going to start at the bottom here because there's one division that has not yet been.
We'll go bottom up for obvious reasons.
Yes. There's one division that has not yet been determined. The number 3 and 4 seeds in the West will be Minnesota and St. Louis, respectively. Minnesota, number 3. And they will each take on either Vegas or Colorado, depending on what Colorado does tonight. As it stands, Vegas is in first and the Avs are in second. Again, we talked about it before, but if the Avs win tonight, they take first place and they will play St. Louis in the first round. I'm going to go ahead and assume the Avs will win tonight. I know it's a dangerous assumption, but they're playing the Kings in a game that they have to win. So I'm going to say they win, and I'm going to assume the Avs play the Blues. I guess we'll just go ahead with picks, Matt.
Might as well.
I think we're both going to pick the same thing. It doesn't matter who wins tonight. Vegas and Avs are going to move on.
It's a guarantee. Who cares who wins tonight? It's Vegas Avs, and that's going to be an electric series. Yeah. Unless St. Louis.
A ton of fun.
I mean, Minnesota's playing well, but it's different. Vegas.
This is the most split division. It's not even close. There are two teams who are two of the top 3 teams in the league. Then the 3 and 4 seeds are like maybe the 10th and 11th best teams in the league.
Yeah. I mean, St. Louis has 61 points, and the top 2 teams in the division are fighting for the President's Trophy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's not close. It's gonna be Vegas Avs. I'd be willing to put a lot of money on that. I would honestly think if you parlayed Vegas and the Avs winning their respective series, it would still be minus money.
Yeah, probably you're right.
Do you have written somewhere where we picked our playoff picks? Because I picked Buffalo to make the playoffs, and this is the episode to just roast ourselves.
Yeah, I'll pull them up after we do all these picks, and we'll have a good laugh.
Okay.
But okay, let's move into the North Division.
Excuse me, the Scotia North Division.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
How dare you respect the sponsors?
Okay. First, the number 2 seed Edmonton Oilers will play the number 3 Winnipeg Jets. I expect this to be a good series because Connor Hellebuck is unstoppable in the playoffs. We're going to see barrages, 40 to 20 shot games that Winnipeg somehow wins on, 2-1. Because Hellebuck just steals games left and right. I do think Edmonton still wins the series, though.
I think how many games?
7. I think it
Talk
goes
about
over.
Edmonton, Winnipeg game 7. That would be. I mean,
Yeah.
gosh, they need
No
to. Canada
fans.
needs to
I
lighten
know.
up and let fans in the stands.
Well, especially just let them go to the stadium. They're on lockdown right now. So have them be like, okay, you can leave the house for one thing. They're going to make everybody happy by saying this. You can only leave the house for one thing. It's either to go to someone's house to watch the games or to go to the games.
I mean, what they need to do is say hockey is essential travel, and that way people can leave the house, because in Canada it is. I want to add in this note. Winnipeg Oilers played 9 times this season. Oilers 7-2. So the Oilers dominating that series in the regular. Yeah, I got the Oilers winning. I think McDavid, he's so hot right now. He has to keep this going.
Yep. If they get any power plays, if Winnipeg commits one penalty a game,
that's the series. Yeah. I got Edmonton in 6.
Okay.
I think Hellebuck is good enough to win 2, to steal 2.
Agreed.
But to hold it for 4 games is a tough ask against the top 2 leading scorers in back-to-back seasons.
Yeah. Okay, we'll move on to the other 2 teams in the North Division. It's the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens. That's the number 4. The number 1 versus the number 4. I have a hard time believing Montreal pulls this off, to be honest with you. Though Toronto is not historically good in the playoffs, I don't see any situation in which they lose in the first round here.
Yeah, it's hard to pick against, or it's hard to pick for the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round, but they're not playing the Bruins. They're playing teams that they've dominated all season. The Maple Leafs are 7-2 in their 9 games against Montreal. But you cannot count out Carey Price. He was so good in the bubble last year. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think it's the same situation. I think Carey Price steals some games, but Toronto, they have so much firepower. I think Toronto wins it in 7.
All right.
A game 7 between these teams would be
5.
Damn.
Yep.
So you say Hellebuck steals games and then you don't give it to one of the greatest goalies ever.
That's right. That's right. No, he steals 1 game.
Well, knowing how Toronto's first line produces in the playoffs, the Canadiens are going to sweep. So,
all right. You want to go ahead and introduce the next series, Matt?
Yeah, I will. What division we in? The Discover NHL Central Division. 2 versus 3. We got Florida versus Tampa. The Panthers have won 5 out of the 8 against Tampa. I mean, 2 months ago, Tampa was the best team in hockey, and it wasn't even close. And now they're the 3 seed in a division that is pretty tight. It's hard to pick against Tampa in the playoffs, though, especially the run they've been on the past several years, and to just win the cup last year in dominating fashion. I got Tampa in 6.
Yeah. God, it's so hard because Tampa has reinforcements coming back too. But how do you pick against Florida right now? I think Florida wants it enough. I think it's time for Tampa Bay to be dethroned.
Yeah, but they get Kucherov and Stamkos back. I mean, even if they're 90%, they're the best line in hockey.
I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to go with the team that's playing better right now. It's Florida. I think it's time for Tampa to be dethroned.
All right, fair enough.
I'm going to say Florida in 7.
Okay. Yeah, see, if it goes 7 games, though, you'd have to think Kucherov and Stamkos have found their rhythm.
Right, and they're fresh.
Yeah. All right, the next matchup in the Discover NHL Central Division is the number 1 Carolina Hurricanes versus the number 4 Nashville Predators. At the beginning of the season, I don't think I picked the Preds to make the playoffs. The crazy thing is Dallas not making the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's a storyline I want to at least touch on.
I think I think I predicted that. One of us did.
So the Hurricanes have dominated.
Yeah.
The Hurricanes have dominated this regular season series. They're 6-2 against the Preds. I think they have no problem getting through the Preds.
Agreed.
They're playing so well right now, which is, again, it's awesome for that city in Raleigh, especially this year because Duke and UNC both laid an egg this year in basketball. That's a college basketball town. Yeah. So I think Carolina handles business. They win in 5.
Okay. I think Nashville gives them a little bit more of a fight, or I should say Smashville, their playoff alter ego. I have to assume that both of these places have a significant amount of fans in the building, which should make it a fun series. I'm going to have this going 7, but I'm going to pick Carolina.
Okay. All right. The division that everybody, and by everybody, I mean our 6 listeners, are all invested in.
Uh-huh. Let's start with the first one.
The Mass Mutual NHL East Division. We have and I'm going to throw up in my mouth saying this, the division-winning Pittsburgh Penguins versus the 4 seed New York Islanders. So the Caps have been dethroned as the 5-time reigning division champs. Oh well.
Although it's kind of like they picked the best of the Metro and the Atlantic and put it in one division.
Yeah. I mean, we had it near the end, but again, I'd rather take a cup than a division title.
Yeah.
So the Penguins are 6-2 in this series. The Isles looked dominant to start the season, and they've cooled off dramatically.
Significantly, yeah.
I got the Penguins in 5.
Okay. I am so tempted, and I think I'm going to do it, to pick against the Penguins. Only because of reverse psychology. Last year they dude, I don't remember the team. The Islanders. It's early. It's 11:42, but it's early for me. I just woke up. The Islanders were really hot last year going to the playoffs. And after being they were really cold, and then it hit, and they were bad in the playoffs.
Yeah.
COVID hit. I think they've been waiting for this opportunity to actually play in the playoffs. Spin zone, they were just resting this last few weeks. I knew they were in the playoffs. They were just waiting because they wanted the Penguins, and that's why they got the 4th seed. I'm going to pick the Islanders, and I don't really know why, but I'm going to do it.
Dude, they made the conference finals last year.
They're going to win it in 6.
The Pens lost to Montreal in the first round last year.
Yeah,
remember, they lost to the 12th seed, and the Isles dominated the Caps in the first round. I lost money on that series, but yeah, I think Pittsburgh's pissed that they lost last year to the 12th seed.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
I mean, don't rationalize why you're picking, because then you'll second guess. So
exactly, I just
stay with the Isles. Well, no chance we pick the same teams on the next series. I do want to add this note, though. So the series that our families are split on, and it's actually crazy because your entire family is Boston, the number 3 seed, and me, Zach, and my dad are Caps, and Nick's a Bruins fan.
Yeah,
so
that
Nick's
doesn't make
on
any
y'all
sense.
side.
We're happy to have you, though, Nick.
Yeah, he was a Joe Thornton fan, like late 90s. So anyway, so the number 2 Caps, number 3 Bruins. We knew this would happen. Our friendship is on the line. The note I want to add in, though, is that every other series, other than the Florida-Tampa series, has been dominant regular season. Florida beat Tampa 5 out of the 8. Every other series was like 7-2, 7-1, 6-2. Caps Bruins split the 8 they played, 4-4. This game is going 7 games. Or this series is going 7 games. Game 7 overtime. We're going to sign Joel Ward to a 1-day contract. Caps win in 7.
And as much as I'd like to say, Matt, that the Bruins are 4-2-2 and the Caps are 4-4, it doesn't matter in the playoffs anymore whether you're won in regulation or overtime.
It's not 3-on-3.
No, it's not.
Because to me, y'all's 3 in Marchand, it's probably Marchand, Pasta, and McAvoy. I mean, that's like unfair.
Because no, you guys won the 2 games in overtime. We won all 4 in regulation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it's 5-on-5.
5-on-5 the whole time.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. We know who you're picking. We know who I'm picking, but I got the Caps in 7.
7, all right. I'm going to go 7 too.
Because if we still had Braden Holtby, I would say Caps in 5. Like he's been the X factor of why we've been so good against the Bruins.
Well, it could be Trotz too, because the Islanders have had our numbers since Trotz joined the Islanders.
That's
so
true.
It could have been him as well.
I'm a little nervous about. So, I think the secondary scoring advantage goes to us. However, I think Taylor Hall has closed that gap dramatically. Yeah. Whereas
the top 6 is definitely
free Taylor Hall. I think you guys take the first line, we take the rest. Now with Taylor Hall, it's a little bit closer. And goaltending, I give you guys the advantage by a mile. So
probably, yeah. It's gonna. The only thing that would surprise me in this series is if it's not the best series in the playoffs.
Yeah,
it just seems like it's the most even one going in. Maybe Vegas and the Avs in the next series. But as far as the first round goes, I don't see any other series coming close to this.
I think this might be the best series in all of the playoffs.
Right.
Again, other than Kyle, I think to me, and it's tough saying this because I want the Caps to win the cup. The way the season has gone, I mean, Toronto looked dominant, but it's against different type of teams, and they choke in the playoffs always. The winner of the Avs Vegas second round to me is winning the cup. That's the Stanley Cup. But anytime anyone's ever said that, Vegas is going to get swept in the first round and everything's going to be tossed out the window. It's the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Though, like, I just have like gut feelings, about like you look at these teams and regardless of records, which one do you actually think could win the cup? I'm looking at Tampa, Carolina, Pittsburgh, Caps, Bruins. That's who I think can actually has a chance to win if they go far enough. Because those are the teams with the experience who've been in the playoffs consistently in the past few years and have won in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's just like if you showed me this list without telling me what happened in the regular season, that's who I'm picking. And that's just where my gut goes.
Here's where the dynamic is. And I want to throw this out because it's so important. Once you get to the Final Four, it's reseeded.
Yeah.
So theoretically, if the Avs in Vegas are in the second round, like that's the favorite, they're tied in points, which means not only are they playing to continue in the playoffs, the winner of that series automatically gets the 1 seed and home ice advantage through the Stanley Cup finals. And again, another thing to mention is that every team in this, in the split divisions, has had playoff success. Vegas, Stanley Cup final. Colorado, Western Conference Finals last year. St. Louis won the cup the year before. Let's go to the Central. Nashville Preds, 5 years ago, Stanley Cup Finals. Tampa Bay won the cup last year. Carolina, Eastern Conference Finals several years ago. Caps won the cup. Bruins, Cup Final. Penguins, back-to-back cups. Isles, Eastern Conference Finals. And then you got the Canadian division, who hasn't had success since 2011. Like you're saying teams
Yeah.
that have the pedigree to go all the way. That's 3 divisions of teams full that have the pedigree, and then the Canadian division. But
All right,
one Canadian team's gonna
I
be
got our
there.
playoff picks up here. You want to hear them?
Let's do it. Let's embarrass ourselves.
Okay, we'll start. We'll go in the same order that we just went. We'll start in the Scotia North Division. You pick the Flames, the Canucks, the Oilers, and the Canadians.
2.
Yep. I picked the Canucks, Oilers, Leafs, Jets. So I got 3 out of 4 in that division.
Damn. Yeah, I left the Leafs out, and they dominated the division.
And it was since game 1, everyone knew it was gonna.
Okay. Well, to me, my reasoning was the top line was garbage, and I was like, they need to score goals, and they led the league in scoring. I mean, scoring goals.
All right, we struggled in this next one, Matt. The Central Division, you picked Carolina, Dallas. Where's the other one? Tampa and the Blue Jackets. We both picked the Blue Jackets.
Okay, so 50%.
Yep. So I had Columbus, Chicago, Florida, Tampa. So I had 50 as well. The West Division.
Vegas Avs.
Got them all right.
Obviously, we
got them all
picked.
right.
Did we?
No, we both picked Arizona in the Wild
instead of Minnesota.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Minnesota was a wild card. I mean, they surprised a lot of people. So
Yeah, they did,
75% there.
Okay, the East Division. This is where you blundered.
Yep.
You picked the Bruins, Sabres, Rangers, Capitals. I picked the Bruins, Flyers, Penguins, Capitals. So I switched the Flyers in the island.
You remember because I remember it like it was yesterday. I wanted to pick 2 New York teams, and you wanted to pick 2 Pennsylvania teams. So that's why you went Pens, Flyers. I went Rangers, Sabres.
Yep. Okay.
We suck.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do.
Hey, we got that Honda West division now.
That's right.
Other than the Wild. All right. Caps Bruins. It's the first series that starts Saturday night, which is crazy because if you look up NHL playoff schedule, only the Caps Bruins series has a date. Everything else is like up in the air.
Well, Matt, news. ESPN/ABC have hired Brian Boucher and Ray Ferraro for their crews next year.
We talk about all the time. I love Brian Boucher.
Yeah, me
in between the glass.
He's great in that role.
But Ray Ferraro is underrated.
I agree.
He's a great role as well.
Mm-hmm. As much as I love Olchek too, I kind of hope they shy away from him. I'm starting to get sick of that guy.
So I've seen everywhere that TNT and ESPN have the NHL split until 2028.
Yep.
TNT and ESPN are in a bidding war for Gretzky as an analyst.
Oh, come on, let's go.
So the number I've heard is that he won't take less than $5 million. And it's kind of weird because you have this, like, we talk about him all the time. He's the greatest of all time, but that's not even like worthy. Like, he's the greatest of all time by far. Like, he's a god. He's a hockey god.
Yeah, right.
But he's like stayed away from the sport, which is kind of like, he does not.
Because he stepped into coaching immediately in Arizona, and he was bad. And since then, he has not touched hockey forever.
Yeah, and it's weird.
He's a golf guy now.
I know, but like MJ he is hands on. I mean, he's an owner of Charlotte. So it's kind of weird that he would say like, look, I need to be paid big bucks to come back to hot. Like, just come back. Like, everybody wants you back. So anyway, if one of those networks get Gretzky, the ratings are going to go.
It's wrapped.
It's going to, So, and I'm hoping.
So TBS has the brunt of the regular season games. They have kind of like an NBA sort of schedule where they have like 30 or 40 exclusive NHL games, which sounds like 2 nights a week. It's going to be like, you know how they do Wednesday Night Rivalry?
Yeah.
Sounds like it'll be like a Tuesday, Friday deal where it's just TBS, which I'm okay with.
I mean, if they get the right people, which it sounds like they are.
And it's another thing because there's not a ton of people to go around, which is shown by NBC this year, who have been borrowing from teams. Like whenever Vegas plays, Dave Gosher, who called, the only reason I know that is because he used to be the Bruins radio guy. Dave Gosher will go on to NBC and call. It's not that he's not good; he's great, but it's just kind of like borrowing from the local networks to call.
When
so
I met with
that many, go ahead.
When I met with John Walton, he said that because he calls national televised games, he calls like 7 a year.
Right.
He said that there's only one full-time NBC employee, and that's Doc. So that I guess that's always how they've done it. They just pulled from regional networks.
Yeah, so I guess
to call games.
It says more about NBC than the amount of play-by-play guys there really are to go around. But it really doesn't seem like there's a ton.
I mean, because
he's been great, but he's going to Seattle, so he can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Forsum was like, it seemed like he was
awesome,
the next Doc.
He's been awesome.
Oh, he's the man. Seattle's going to, I mean, they're going to be sold out for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
But.
And he disappeared.
I'm back. Nick was calling me. I mean, he's going to blow away their ratings.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he's great.
So yeah, but I'm excited for a long time. I've held like resentment for ESPN because of their lack of hockey coverage.
Well, now they have no choice.
I'm excited, especially if they can get Gretzky, because that means they can get rid of Barry Melrose's bum ass.
He's their only guy. He's their only.
I am. Not
I like Barry Melrose. But
I am not a fan of Barry Melrose.
He cannot be your number one man. I mean, imagine ESPN gets Gretzky and we get a Gretzky morning show.
I'm not even saying Gretzky morning show. I'm saying like, imagine Gretzky just going on Scott Van Pelt's midnight Sports Center. It would do 8 million viewers.
I just want to see Gretzky like just tell every single player they stink. Just say that every player stinks.
He's not
going.
Like,
he wouldn't survive in that day.
He's that good of a guy.
Yeah.
But like if anyone that's ever played in the history of sports has a right to tell someone that they're not good, it's him.
Or I just want to hear subtle jabs at anybody who's coming after one of his records. Like Ovechkin would be like, here's Alex Ovechkin. There's no way he ever passes the record. And he scored.
Yeah, they just need to
McDavid.
go to
Connor McDavid, he wouldn't have survived in my day. What a good move by Connor McDavid.
I want Gretzky to beat Pierre.
No, you're ruining Gretzky by mentioning Pierre anywhere near.
No, I know I'm not. I'm saying because you can tell players don't like Pierre. Like no one likes Pierre.
No.
But put Gretzky in that role. Like Gretzky's walking into a locker room with a mic. Could you imagine? I mean, even Crosby would get like starstruck.
They'd all be wanting to do the interviews. Usually Pierre has to like grab a guy.
That's what I'm saying. To see players that millions of people idolize over someone that's interviewing them. I mean, that's worth watching. I think they could do a lot with Gretzky that would make the game. Yeah. Anything. I
want to see the players interview Gretzky. I mean, I want to hear Gretzky answer the questions, not ask him.
I mean, even have Gretzky, not as much as like a color commentator, but like maybe like a Bush type scenario where he can give his insight, because obviously no one will ever touch his hockey IQ.
Nope, not even close.
So anyway, all right, Caps Bruins Saturday night. Go Caps.
Go Bruins. I'm excited. It's going to be a good series. It's going to be great playoffs.
Yeah. If it goes game 7, we'll have to do something.
Yeah. It won't though.
All right. We'll see y'all later.